Yes. I want Nicole to be happy. That's what I want.
Tom Cruise and his family have always been a source of amazement for people all over the world. One of the most renowned actors in the world, Tom Cruise, has a daughter named Suri Cruise who has spent her entire life in front of the camera. Don't move about. In recent times, however, Suri has done something that has taken everyone by surprise. Suri has changed her name to Suri Noel when she reached the age of 18 years old. Choosing a new name is not the only thing at stake here. The fact that Suri wants to be known for herself, and not only as the daughter of a superstar, is demonstrated by the fact that she wants to make her own decisions. In light of this, why did Suri choose to change her name? And what kind of consequence would this choice have for her relationship with her father, Tom Cruise? We invite you to join us as we investigate how Tom Cruise's daughter has recently broken her silence and impressed everyone. The relationship between Suri's parents. In the 2000s, Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes were among the couples that received the most attention and discussion. They began their relationship in 2005 and immediately rose to prominence after that. People were enamored with their narrative, and they appeared to be the ideal couple. After only a few short months, they announced their engagement. An exquisite wedding ceremony took place in Italy for Tom and Katie in November of 2006. They had a lot of affection for one another, and their followers were thrilled for them. They soon became parents to a daughter whom they named Suri, which is a name that translates to princess and red rose, demonstrating how much they treasured her. Everything appeared to be in perfect order at first. Together, they frequently made appearances at events, traveled all over the world, and appeared to be in a very cheerful mood. Katie went so far as to join Tom in his pursuit of Scientology, which was something that was very important to him. Nevertheless, not everything was as flawless as it appeared to be. Through the course of time, there were rumors and worries. There were many who were concerned that Katie's dissatisfaction stemmed from Tom's deep-seated commitment to Scientology. The fact that Katie filed for divorce in 2012, after they had been married for 5 years, increased this concern. It gets more complicated. Watch closely to find out the reason why. Scientology is a collection of beliefs and practices that were developed by L. Ron Hubbard in the 1950s. For those who are unaware, Scientology is a religion. Many Scientologists hold the belief that every single person is a spiritual being known as a thetan. This thetan is comparable to an unseen component of your being that has lived a great number of lifetimes in the past and will continue to live after this one. It is their belief that the thetan is distinct from both your body and your thinking. Auditing is classified as a crucial discipline in the Scientology religion. Psychotherapy is a specialized form of counseling in which individuals talk about their prior experiences in order to better comprehend and resolve issues. They want to feel better and achieve a state that they call clear, which is a state in which they believe they are free from the problems of the past. One of the paths that Scientologists take is referred to as the bridge to absolute freedom. In order to grow more spiritually conscious and better able to deal with the obstacles that life presents, they follow a set of steps or levels that they progress through. The electronic meter is a device that is utilized during the auditing process. It does this by determining how the body reacts to various thoughts and sensations, which in turn assists the individual in identifying and working through their problems. Additionally, Scientology discusses 8 different dynamics or other aspects of this life. As one of these dynamics, you are responsible for taking care of yourself, your family, your community, and the entire globe. Each of them is a distinct aspect of life that requires attention, and they are all important. Because they are urged to adhere to a code of ethics, it is expected of them that they will make an effort to be responsible and moral individuals. It is their belief that adhering to these guidelines will allow them to have more fulfilling lives. There is a certain group that is typically referred to as the Sea Organization or Sea Org. Members of this group make a solemn promise to serve the church and contribute to its purpose, and they frequently live and work together in order to fulfill this commitment. The surprising decision that Katie made to divorce Tom soon garnered a lot of attention, and many people speculated that it was connected to the fact that she was becoming increasingly less comfortable with Scientology. It is very evident that Scientology played a substantial influence in Katie's decision, despite the fact that neither Tom nor the Church of Scientology has publicly addressed these issues. Following Tom's influence, Katie became a member of Scientology in the year 2005. To begin, she gave the impression of being supportive of the faith, even going so far as to have a representative of the church accompany her to events. On the other hand, Katie's dissatisfaction with the stringent religious rituals grew more and further with time. This circumstance did not sit well with Katie, as stated by Ron Miscavige, who is the father of David Miscavige, who is the leader of the Evangelical Church. She experienced discomfort as a result of the continual presence of church staff, which eventually began to put a strain on their marriage. According to the reports, she had not been to a Scientology church in quite some time, and she had even put their daughter, Suri, in a preschool that was affiliated with the Catholic faith. It is clear from this change that Katie is becoming increasingly reluctant to become involved with Scientology. Katie mentioned irreconcilable differences in her petition, which means that they had issues that could not be resolved because of their differences. She also requested that they have complete custody of their daughter, Suri, who is 6 years old. The implication of this was that Katie desired for Suri to reside with her for the majority of the time, rather than having her time divided evenly between both parents. The choice that Katie made came as a total and utter surprise to Tom Cruise, who was turning 50 at the time. When he learned that Katie had filed for divorce, he was in Iceland filming his new movie. He was upset about the situation. The news has left Tom in a state of profound sadness, according to a spokeswoman for him, and he is currently concentrating on his 3 children. There were other reports that said Tom was shocked and devastated when he found out about the divorce. He had not anticipated this happening. Prior to submitting her petition for divorce, Katie meticulously plotted out her subsequent actions. In order to assist her, she arranged for her father, Martin Holmes, who is a lawyer, to travel to New York. In addition to providing legal counsel, he also offered emotional assistance. While Suri and Katie were in New York City, Katie discreetly rented an apartment for the 2 of them. To ensure that she would have a secure location to stay after submitting the documents, she did this in a stealthy manner. It was always Suri's well-being that she was most concerned about. Immediately after the divorce petition was submitted, it was reported that members of Scientology were following Katie around throughout New York County. She became aware of unfamiliar automobiles in the vicinity of her apartment, such as a white Cadillac, and she had the impression that they were observing her. In response to these allegations, the church stated that they were not conducting surveillance on Katie. On the other hand, Katie was even more adamant about safeguarding her daughter Suri because she was concerned that Tom may enroll her in a specialized training program that was operated by the church. Because of this surveillance, Katie experienced a sense of insecurity, which prompted her to contact the authorities out of concern that they could attempt to kidnap Suri. During this time of upheaval, Katie took steps to disassociate herself from Tom's influence by dismissing a significant number of her employees, including her publicist and her security team. Katie was concerned about Suri being impacted by Scientology, particularly its disconnection policy, which states that individuals may be required to break off family members who quit the organization. Katie wished to ensure that Suri would not be separated from her in any way for any reason. Following his divorce from Nicole Kidman, Tom decided to retain the services of his attorney as a response to Katie's conduct. It was his intention to relocate the lawsuit to the state of California, where he believed it would be simpler for him to request shared custody of Suri. The implication of this is that Tom desires to spend time with Suri and not merely allow Katie to make all of the decisions around her. One might be curious in the number of divorces that Tom Cruise has experienced. To answer your question, the answer is 3, and each of them contains a tale that might be taken directly from a screenplay written in Hollywood. A good place to begin is with his first marriage, the previous marriages of Tom Cruise. In the middle of the 1980s, Tom Cruise was already well on his way to being one of the most prominent individuals in the entertainment industry. In the year 1985, Tom was introduced to Mimi Rogers, an actress who was 6 years his senior and was known for her attractive and secretive personality. Mimi had already had a successful career in Hollywood and was well known for her appearances in both television and film. However, what was more important was that she had a strong connection to Scientology. Tom's belief in this religion would grow to be a defining characteristic of his life. On May 9, 1987, the pair tied the knot in a ceremony that was kept clandestine and quiet. Despite the fact that Tom was 24 years old and Mimi was 31 years old, they were an almost impossible couple to be together. The fact that they both had a strong connection to the world of philosophy and spirituality was a defining characteristic of their partnership. Tom would subsequently become a devoted follower of Scientology, and it is commonly believed that Mimi was the one who first introduced him to the religion. It gets more complicated. Watch closely to find out the reason why. On the other hand, their marriage did not last very long. The couple made the announcement that they were going their separate ways in 1990, and the divorce was formalized later that same year. So, what took place? There are many who believe that the breakup occurred because of the disparity in their professional aspirations and lives. A number of people believe that Mimi's decision to forego having children with Tom was the source of the conflict. On the other hand, there were rumors that Scientology itself played a part, and that the church believed that Tom had a greater potential with another partner. After some time had passed, Mimi herself made a cryptic comment in an interview in which she implied that Tom's aspirations for a perfect family life were in conflict with the realities of their marriage. This relationship ended almost as swiftly as it had begun, regardless of the reasons for its dissolution. On the other hand, it laid the groundwork for the subsequent phase of Tom Cruise's life. After then, Tom became acquainted with Nicole Kidman. Days of Thunder was a high-octane racing drama production that required a gorgeous co-star. The year was 1989, and Tom was cast in the role of the protagonist. Nicole Kidman, an accomplished Australian actress with beautiful red hair and a ferocious talent, was selected by the casting directors. Kidman is somewhat unknown in Australia. Tom fell in love with her from the moment they first met, and their on-screen chemistry immediately permeated into their everyday lives. Just a few short months after Tom's divorce from Mimi was confirmed, they tied the knot in a private ceremony in Telluride, Colorado, on December 24, 1990. At the time, they appeared to be the ideal couple in the entertainment industry. She is young, stunning, and head over heels in love. They frequently discussed the close-knit nature of their family life, which included the adoption of 2 children, Isabella and Connor. For more than a decade, Tom and Nicole were a sight to behold on red carpets and in the movies. They worked together once more in the controversial and sexually charged thriller Eyes Wide Shut, which was directed by Stanley Kubrick and released in 1999. It was a production that apparently put a strain on their marriage due to the demanding schedule and personal moments that were included in the film. On the other hand, Tom filed for divorce in February of 2001, which was just as unexpected as their union. Their followers were taken aback by the revelation, particularly given that Nicole herself reportedly taken aback by the decision. Subsequently, she claimed that she was heartbroken and that she continued to love Tom. There was a lot of speculation. There were others who believed that the pair had become more apart as a result of their stressful occupations. Other people were of the opinion that Tom's growing involvement with Scientology was the cause of the split that had developed between them. Nicole, who was brought up in a Catholic household, was never completely on board with Scientology, and it is possible that this particular theological split was a contributing reason. In August of 2001, the divorce between them was formalized, and Nicole famously declared, "Now I can wear high heels again." This statement included a hint at Tom's shorter stature, as well as maybe deeper tensions that had not been resolved. Although they rarely discussed the reasons behind their breakup, Tom and Nicole continued to talk lovingly of their time spent together, despite the fact that they had experienced a great deal of pain. All about Surrey Cruise. For a moment, try to picture yourself as a child, and having hundreds of people watching every single moment of your life. This was Suri Cruise's life from the moment she was born till the present day. In addition to having a famous parent, she also had two famous parents. It is commonly known that her mother, Katie Holmes, was also a well-known actress, and her father, Tom Cruise, was one of the most famous actors in Hollywood. As a result of this, Suri's life was frequently in the public eye, which resulted in a childhood that was considerably different from that of the majority of children. From the very beginning, Suri's every action was closely monitored and reported on. It was common practice for photographers to follow her family around and take pictures of them wherever they went. Whatever they were doing, whether it was going to the grocery store, going out to dinner, or even just going for a walk, there were cameras present at all times. Considering the continual attention that Suri received, it was impossible for her to be a typical youngster. For example, magazines routinely published images of her out with her parents or having fun when she was younger. These photographs were published in periodicals. When one is in a circumstance where they are in the spotlight like this, it can be challenging situations. It was challenging for Suri to live with the knowledge that everyone was monitoring her every move, despite the fact that she enjoyed a life that was extremely opulent and enjoyable. It indicated that she did not have the same degree of privacy that a great number of other children and adolescents often have. During the time that Suri was maturing and entering her teenage years, the media began to focus their attention on her. People were fascinated about her life and the way she interacted with her parents, and they were especially interested in her relationship with Tom Cruise. Suri was forced to navigate her teenage years while being subjected to a tremendous degree of scrutiny as a result of the persistent spotlight that was placed on her. In addition to the pressure and criticism that came along with being in the public spotlight, Suri had to deal with the fact that she was in the public view. She had to fight with both of these things simultaneously. At a young age, she had to acquire the skills that were necessary to deal with the attention that she received from the public and the media. Her life was made even more difficult by the fact that the private lives of her family were constantly mentioned in the public at various periods in time. This made her life much more difficult. Imagine going to school or trying to make friends while being aware that everything you do could potentially be published in a tabloid. Just try to visualize yourself doing either of those things at that time. This was a crucial factor in Suri's journey, which she went through. She frequently got the idea that people were more interested in her famous parents than in her as an individual, and the attention that she received was not always nice. She also did not always feel that she was the center of attention. People's perceptions of her were frequently formed on the basis of her family, rather than on the basis of who she was as a person. This was quite common. According to Suri, when she was little, one of her most cherished goals was to have a typical childhood. She voiced this desire in a statement. Instead of being anxious about being filmed, she wanted to go to school, hang out with her friends, and take part in activities that other children did without having to worry about being caught on camera. In her opinion, this was not a simple undertaking at all. Even less major activities, such as going out for ice cream or attending a birthday party, sometimes became events that were covered by the media. Examples of these kinds of activities include going out for ice cream. In comparison to other children her age, Suri was unable to achieve the same level of independence of her peers. There was always the persistent anxiety that she might be photographed or that her privacy would be breached. This was something that was always present. She had the notion that she was obligated to fulfill particular expectations simply owing to the fact that her parents were the ones who raised her. This constant scrutiny gave her the impression that she required to fulfill these demands. Suri was able to discover out how to navigate her way through her one-of-a-kind circumstance, despite the challenges that she faced. It was necessary for her to take into consideration the fact that her family was well known in order to fulfill her desire for privacy from others. Over the course of time, she came up with strategies to deal with the attention that she received and made choices that allowed her to live a life that was as normal as it could possibly be. As an indication, her mother, Katie Holmes, regularly made the decision to withdraw from the public eye and avoid situations in which she was aware that she would be photographed. She also avoided situations in which she was aware that she would be photographed. The recent news with Suri. As of relatively recently, the decision that Suri Cruise took to alter her name to Suri Noel has been the subject of extensive discussion on the internet. This is not only a change of name, rather it is a significant event that will reveal a great deal about her journey and how she would like the world to experience her perception of herself. Now, let's look into this matter in greater detail. She is the daughter of the famous Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes, and it has been determined that Suri Cruise will now be known by her new name, Suri Noel. Suri Cruise is the daughter of Katie Holmes and Tom Cruise. Suri's admirers observed a significant change in her appearance during the time of her high school graduation, which resulted in her garnering a great deal of attention. During the ceremony that took place at LaGuardia High School, she did not use the name Suri Cruise, but rather went by the name Suri Noel throughout the event. The decision to alter the name of this organization is not only a whim, rather, it is accompanied by a substantial significance. Some people refer to Katie Holmes by her middle name, which is Noel. Katie is the name that is most usually used to refer to her in the professional world, despite the fact that her full name is Kate Noel Holmes. In spite of the fact that Suri's father was noticeably absent from the graduation ceremony that took place on June 21st, Suri's patriarchal mother was there to express her support for her daughter. When I think about what it must be like to be largely recognized as the offspring of a renowned person, I can only picture how it must feel. Every minute of your life is being meticulously examined by the general public. Everyone thinks of you in conjunction with your renowned parent. This is fairly common. During the process of choosing your choice, you ought to take into consideration the possibility of selecting a name that is absolutely unique and distinguishes you from everything else. Another way of putting it is that Suri has successfully completed that task for you. By preferring to go by the name Suri Noel rather than Suri Cruise, she is not only selecting a new name for herself, but she is also making a significant statement about who she is. The only thing she is doing is changing her name. There is a large amount of time that has passed since this choice was taken. Suri has lately attained the age of 18, which is a big milestone in the lives of any individual when it comes to reaching that age. The moment that people start giving substantial thought to who they are and what they want to become is the point at which they begin to take this into consideration. She makes it quite evident that she intends to carve out her own space in the world by adopting Suri Noel for significant events, such as her graduation from high school and her participation in school plays. The statement that she makes is that she is ready to enter the world as her own person, and not only as Tom Cruise's child. At this point, I am prepared to enter the world. Another point to consider is that the choice of the name Suri Noel was not done at random. There are several instances in which Noel is associated with the Christmas season as well as new beginnings. Consequently, it would appear that choosing this name for Suri is the most appropriate method to symbolize the beginning of something new. It would appear that she is celebrating the beginning of a new era in her life that is wholly her own. This is the case to a certain extent. This change in name has, without a shadow of a doubt, attracted a significant lot of attention throughout the years. A great number of people believe that it is a brave step toward achieving independence, for the purpose of demonstrating to everyone that she is more than just the child of a well-known actor. Suri is acting in a manner that gives the impression that she is seeking to emerge from the shadow created by her father. As a result of the significant amount of media attention that has been surrounding her ever since she was a little girl, many people believe that this could be her method of coping with the attention that she has received. This is something that a number of individuals have the belief that is the case. It is quite likely that she is seeking to disguise her identity and exert a greater degree of influence over how the general public perceives her by using a different name. This is because she is using a different name. The general public has engaged in a substantial amount of discourse as a result of the change in the name of the organization. Some individuals are of the opinion that Suri is ready to establish her own career and not only dwell in the shadow of her famous parents. This is the viewpoint of certain individuals. This is something that these persons regard to be an indication of her independence and maturity on some level. Some people have the impression that Suri is making an attempt to remove herself from the limelight of the media, which has been following her ever since she was a little child. This is something that Suri is doing in order to avoid the opinions of some individuals. Through the use of a different name, it is probable that she is attempting to conceal her identity from the relentless scrutiny of the general public. There is a chance that this will occur. One interpretation of the decision to choose a different name is that it is a declaration of independence from the organization that was previously in operation. Changing one's name is a method that many people use to create a new identity for themselves and to differentiate themselves from their prior identity. This is the case for a significant number of people. Nevertheless, why would Suri seek to change her name without first receiving her father's approval to do so? At the time when Suri was a little child, Katie Holmes had the strong urge to shield her from the significant amount of attention that she received from the general public. Since the year 2012, Tom Cruise has not seen his daughter, and the two of them are not in a relationship at the present moment. Tom Cruise has not seen his daughter since 2014. In accordance with the provisions of the divorce agreement, Tom was expected to pay for Suri's expenses up until the time when she was 18 years old. As Suri reaches this age, she is now permitted to discuss her father, his opinions, and the reasons why they are alienated from one another in public, if she so chooses. This has been made possible by the fact that she has reached this age. There is a possibility that Suri will talk about how she feels about her father via the lens of Scientology. There is a school of thinking that thinks Tom ought to make an attempt to get back in touch with Suri and bring her to the church now that she is older. This is because Suri does not attend church anymore. Suri, on the other hand, has managed to keep her life private and out of the public eye while maintaining a close relationship with her mother, Katie. Suri has been able to preserve this healthy relationship. Despite the fact that Suri Cruise has spent her entire childhood in the spotlight, she is now able to make critical decisions as an autonomous individual. The fact that she changed her name to Suri Noel is evidence that she wants to be known for who she is, in addition to being known as Tom Cruise's daughter. This is proved by the fact that she changed her name. A great number of individuals have an interest in gaining additional knowledge on this brave action. How do you feel about Suri's decision to change her name? What are your thoughts on the matter? Please share your thoughts with us in the comment section. We want to make sure that you enjoyed viewing this film as much as we did. If you did, I would be grateful if you would give the video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you in advance for your support. We are grateful that you are watching.